President Putin has ordered Russian military commanders to put the country's strategic nuclear forces on special alert, their highest level. Speaking at the Kremlin, he said Western countries had taken unfriendly actions towards Russia, including what he called unlawful economic sanctions. Well, in terms of what is happening on the ground, the Russian assault on Ukraine, that continues on several fronts. Officials say the second city of Kharkiv remains under Ukrainian control despite heavy street fighting. Russian infantry vehicles have been seen driving through residential areas, and Ukrainian fighters have been clashing with Russian soldiers on foot. The situation is currently quieter in the capital, Kyiv, though smoke continues to billow from an oil depot that was blown up close to the city last night. Residents have been warned of the potential of toxic fumes.
Ukraine agrees to talk with Russia, but the President Volodymyr Zelensky has little hope for a positive outcome.
I will say frankly, as always, I do not really believe in the outcome of this meeting, but let them try, so that no citizen of Ukraine would have any doubt that I, as President, did not try to stop the war when there was a small chance.
It will be the first discussion between the two countries since Moscow unleashed its full-scale invasion last week. Zelensky says Russia has agreed to talks on the Ukrainian-Belarusian border near the Pripyat River.
At the same time, we're strengthening once more our sanctions against the Kremlin and its collaborator, Lukashenko's regime. First, we are shutting down the EU airspace for Russians. We're proposing a prohibition on all Russian-owned, Russian-registered and Russian-controlled aircraft. These aircraft will no more be able to land in, take off, or overfly the territory of the European Union. This will apply to any plane, owned, chartered, or otherwise controlled by a Russian legal or natural person. So let me be very clear. Our airspace will be closed to every Russian plane, and that includes the private jets of oligarchs too.
A historical first for the European Union as the bloc on Sunday agreed to send weapons to a country at war.
For the first time ever, the European Union will finance the purchase and delivery of weapons and other equipment to a country that is under attack.
After the United States, several NATO allies from the EU are now to send arms to Ukraine, including Germany, which dropped a long-standing block against sending lethal weapons to a war zone. They are transferring 1,000 anti-tank weapons, 500 Stinger surface-to-air missiles and 14 armoured vehicles. Sweden is sending 5,000 anti-tank rockets, the first time it's broken its historical neutral stance in over 80 years. Then, it was also the same aggressor.
"4 days of war. But if Vladimir Putin thought he could conquer Ukraine in just a few days, he appears to have misjudged the determination in the path of his tanks and warplanes. A drone strike, Ukraine says, smashed into an invading armoured column, another destroying a Russian missile launcher. While Ukrainian gunners in prepared positions are punishing hard the Russian troop carriers trying to push into urban areas of the major towns and cities. Sometimes you don't need a gun to face down an enemy. The men of a Ukraine town forcing a Russian tank to back up. This is the fighting front as Russia tries to engulf its neighbour.
After its construction in 1988 and flying for 34 years, the Antonov 225 has now been confirmed as destroyed. Reports first emerged of the aircraft's potential destruction on the 24th of February. We were then reassured by many that this was not in fact the case and it had actually survived. Again, this turned out to not be true, and the Antonov 225 was destroyed at Hostomel Airport on the 24th of February 2022. It's confirmed the hangar that the Antonov 225 was reported to be in has now been destroyed. This comes after an attack on Hostomel Airport commenced on Thursday.
To protest in Russia takes a certain amount of courage, as it comes with the likelihood that you'll be detained, often violently. This is St. Petersburg, where they were chanting "No to war." An independent monitoring group reported protests in 44 Russian cities on Sunday, including here in Kazan and in Russia's eastern city of Irkutsk. These have been the first significant attempts at nationwide protests in almost a year, since the jailing of Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny. Here in Moscow, the police are making it very difficult for people to try and protest. Anyone who so much as lingers in a suspected gathering area is taken away for questioning.
BP is offloading its 20% stake in Russian oil giant Rosneft due to the crisis in Ukraine. It's one of the first major moves by a big company after the invasion, and it's a rapid, costly end for BP to nearly 3 decades of operating in Russia. Losing Rosneft means BP loses around half of its oil and gas reserves, and the British company says it will take a financial hit of up to $25 billion. In a Sunday statement, BP Chief Executive Bernard Looney said, quote, "I have been deeply shocked and saddened by the situation unfolding in Ukraine, and my heart goes out to everyone affected. It has caused us to fundamentally rethink BP's position with Rosneft." Looney and his predecessor Bob Dudley will both step down from the board of Rosneft. BP is Russia's biggest foreign investor, and its move puts a spotlight on other Western companies with operations there, including France's Total Energies and Britain's Shell.